Alright, hello. I wanted to do a quick movement tech tutorial to show off all the different things we do to speed up Daxter as we're going along our speedruns. I'm gonna try and avoid talking about tricks as much as possible and just focus on the movement for this tutorial. So, very basic movement starting off. Single jumping is the fastest bit of movement on the ground that you can do as Daxter. It's faster than walking, and it's also faster than double jumping. As you can tell, you get slowed down as Daxter a little bit when you double jump. So anytime you can, you want to single jump around. The second bit of basic movement that you can do basically anywhere as Daxter is that normally the camera would follow behind you like this, and this is how you would normally play. However, if you hold the camera at a 45-degree angle, you speed up Daxter quite a bit. 45 degrees is the sweet spot to get the maximum speed up. I think you still actually get a little bit of a speed up from 90-degree angle, but not nearly as much as 45 degree. You want to keep the camera at a 45-degree angle as much as you can when you're moving around with Daxter, which that can be pretty difficult in Daxter because of the way that the camera works. So on a PSP, you don't have a secondary stick, a right stick right here, like I have on this controller, in order to move a camera. Instead, the way that the camera movement works is with the R and L buttons that you move around like this, which in order to make that easier for casual players, one thing they programmed into the game is that if you move in a direction that the camera is not facing, the camera will autocorrect. So as you can see here, the camera is moving, but I'm not touching either of my camera buttons. My camera buttons are the R button and the L1 button. These two buttons are my buttons to move the camera, but here the camera is moving in spite of me not touching either of those. And that's because the camera will autocorrect, because it's like, oh, I want to hold the camera angle the same direction that Daxter's moving, like that. And that makes it easier for casual players to get around. But it makes it harder for speedrunners to hold a 45-degree angle, because it means, as you can see on my input viewer, I'm having to constantly tap in order to maintain the angle. You get used to the rhythm eventually, but that's one thing to keep in mind when trying to learn that camera angle holding. But you need to tap constantly. It's not enough to just set up the camera angle. Once you have figured that out, there's some other bits of movement with Daxter to speed him up, outside of scooters, which I'll show later as well. One of them is the late jump boost. So this rock, you can get a boost off of it by jumping late as you're about to fall off almost. So you can tell I got a little bit of a boost there, and it made me jump across that massive gap over here to the ledge grab. If you get a really good boost, you can even do it ledge grabless, which, considering the distance here, is kind of wild. That boost is just so valuable. Somewhat related to late jump boost, there is also a slant boost you can do. A good example is here in a construction site. So this one, rather than jumping late, which doesn't really give you a boost, what you want to do is you want to land like really high up here, and then you want to jump early. So like the moment you land, you want to jump. So if I just jump from this location without getting a boost, I don't reach the rope. However, if I do get the boost, I do reach the rope. I can get onto it pretty quickly, which saves a lot of time. Another bit of movement that has to do with these edge boosting kinds of movement tech that you can do is something called an extended jump. So if you jump very close to an edge, you can actually delay your jump to be in the air a little bit further away from the platform. So if I'm gonna try and do it on this edge, since I have a save file close here. Just like that. So you can see just how insanely late that second jump was. The timing for you to be able to jump after an extended jump is very precise. But the concept, basically, you land just before the edge, and you don't just stand still like I'm doing here, but you do it as you're falling off. And if you do that correctly, then there's a precise timing where you can get a jump in the middle of the air. I do it by spamming X during the period in time where you haven't gotten the ability to jump yet, like this. I feel like I get it more often doing that, but a lot of other people try to time it, which it's a little harder for me. I'm even instinctually spamming right now. Just like that. That was a timed one. In case you want to take a look at that one, see the exact timing that I did. Alright, so next up I want to show off the swing boost, utilizing these swingers right here that you have in this section of the prison. So I'm gonna get in the position, then you go far out on it, so you get all the speed when you jump off. I jumped up a bit early, but I still got a lot of the boost from the swing when it moved. And I'm gonna do it again off of this one to get over to that area over there, which is really far, where you get a really good boost if you stay on the swing for a bit. I'm gonna wait here, I'm gonna jump like that, and as you can see, I got a crazy boost from the swing and made it all the way over. So that's really useful, particularly in this area. The next thing I want to talk about is a boost to your hover, actually. It's a boost from the elevator. So as you can see here, I'm on an elevator. And what this does is when I jump off and hover, I just keep gaining so much height. Like, see, the roof capped me, which is normally not how the hover works. Normally, it has a fixed height that's based on the location where you hover from. So if I hover from here, it goes to about this height right here over like the ledge grab. Whereas if I hover from this grounded position, I can get a little bit higher, but still not super high. But this elevator extends the height where you can get up with the hover. Just like that. Unfortunately, if you land on the ground, you lose the state, so you're no longer getting the elevator boost. However, you can maintain the elevator boost by ledge grabbing. So the way this works in the 2D skip we do here in basically every category, pretty much, is you just do a bunch of ledge grabs like that, ledge grab here, and you can even keep it going from here by grabbing this orb and then go all the way up. I didn't manage the last bit, but if you do it correctly, you can actually get all the way up there, which is pretty sick. This is actually not the only place where you can do this, but I'll see if I can do recommend 2 skip pretty quick to be able to get in position. So here we go, now I'm in position. So what we do in the elevator boost in Strip Mine 2 here is we go on the elevator and then we ledge grab the elevator as it's going up. So if I get it correctly here, you can clip out of bounds and you can get the elevator boost just like that and hover up, which is pretty sick. So you can just keep it moving like that, be out of bounds, and also get a lot of height really quickly to be able to traverse this area. in ways that you're not intended to be able to. You're intended to use the lightning blaster, whatever it's called, to destroy these rocks. But we don't have it in this part of the run whenever you're doing world record strats. So that's a cool one to know myself. The next thing I should show off is the vent clip. Any crawl space you can do the skip. It's not specifically for vents, but yeah, so you can crawl down here normally to get into this area and go through. However, if you want to do it faster, instead of crawling, what you do is you jump close to the crawl space, but not all the way up against it, and you get under here, because when Daxter lands after a jump, he ducks down a little bit, the hitbox becomes a little bit lower, and it gives you just low enough height that you can go into a crawl space even though you're not crawling. You can do it again here, because if you don't do it second time for this vent as well, it will stop you. You do it again for this one, and now you're out of bounds, and you can start doing your movement. This one in particular, I'm not following the vent here. Normally you have to follow the vent in order to do the vent movement, but this is the only vent in the game where you don't have to follow the vent. Like, you see this winding path in the vent, I didn't follow that at all. I just held to the left a bit, and then I just held straight up, and it worked, which is a bit unusual. But yeah, that's how the crawl space clips work. There's tons of places in the game where you can skip crawling in these kinds of spaces by doing that kind of duck. And then after that, I'm now going to show off a fun little skip here, where if you... I'm gonna get rid of these things so I can explain this and not have to do it in one go. Normally, if you walk off and land on a trampoline, you bounce on a trampoline, as you would expect. However, if you crawl onto a trampoline, so as you're falling off, you also press crawl, you enter this state where the trampoline is constantly going off, but you're not actually jumping off. And in order to get out of the state in a way where you get a lot of height, you jump, and now you got an insane boost up into the air. So much that the trampoline actually deloaded and I didn't even land on it. It's insane how much of a boost you get. Of course, this is one you would see a lot. To do this skip right here in construction site 1, which is a very common application of this trampoline skip. You can actually do it in construction site 2 as well. It happens to also have a trampoline that's a little bit harder to crawl onto, but you can do it here as well. You time your crawl correctly. Alright, there we go. I managed it. So just like with the other one, you jump off. And you can do a little bit of a skip here. Just like that. And you get pretty far into construction site 2. Pretty sick. Alright, so next up I want to show some related tech with the trampoline, which I'm going to do with the construction site 1 trampoline here. So if I go down here, if you crawl onto a trampoline and do the boost off of it, like I showed before, and press square in the air, it does cap it, which might be useful somewhere. So if I just do that real quick, build up the speed, then cap it with square, just like that. I did not go nearly as high. But the thing that you actually do in 101% that utilizes the square in the air input is rather than waiting on the trampoline in order to build up the boost, you just jump right away. So you go onto there, you jump right away, and then you press square like that. And you saw I got a boost in the middle of the air, which it's basically just like I got 2 trampoline jumps. So I got one normal one, and then I got another one mid-air. So I guess you can call it trampoline storage or something. I don't think we ever named it. But yeah, so you crawl onto there, you jump immediately, and then you press square. Square input makes it so you jump again, but mid-air, which is pretty cool. Took me a little bit, but yeah, that's how you do it. And then another a bit of height gaining movement you can do, which I think we only do it in Tango 1. This is one that's pretty specific, but I feel like I should mention it as well, just in case you ever want to try and see if you can find something that also does it. Is this platform right here is one that if you stand on it, it gets removed, but then it will go back up after a while. So if you spin right as it goes up, you get a height boost. So I got all the way up there, whereas normally you would hover just there, which is a pretty massive height difference. So much that we can actually use it to get out of bounds in Tanker 1. Like you do this, you get the height boost, and then you hover out of bounds here. I got a pretty low amount of height there, so I didn't get it, but if you get high enough, you get out of bounds there. And now that I've done all of these different boosts to Daxter's speed and height, I think I can finally talk about the scooter movement. The 45-degree angle doesn't actually speed up Daxter on the scooter, as I mentioned earlier, so you don't have to deal with any of that while in the scooter. Instead, I'm going to be showing off some scooter proxies. So the first one here, you hold square and X at the same time to move at half speed instead of full speed, which makes the scooter proxy a little bit more consistent. Where the concept is you drive into this corner and you get a proxy that gets you really large amount of height. Generally, after getting into the corner, I will line up the scooter to be perpendicular with the wall here, so that it becomes a little bit more consistent, just like that. And if you do it just well enough, which is pretty precise, it's kind of hard to do it consistently, but if you manage, you can get enough height to get out of bounds here. Scooter Proxy is not agreeing with me right now, unfortunately. There we go. Now I got enough height so I could land on the scaffolding here and jump out of bounds. And it's pretty sick. It allows us to get to the other side of the city port door. So normally in order to get to the city port you'd need to do a bunch of levels, but here you can just move straight over to the city port instead of having to unlock this door like you would normally need to. And the next scooter proxy I'm gonna show off right over here. I'm going to see if we can line up this scooter proxy. It's a more difficult one in my opinion. I don't know it quite as well as the other one, but it's also more up to your own ability here, whereas the other one is a little bit random. I'm actually going to bring up an image here of the exact location where you do the clip, or the proxy here. So this should be about the correct place. So what you want to do is at this kind of angle you want to tap the cross button, not like hold it, just tap it to get a tiny bit of speed. I think I'm a little bit too far left. Just like that, and you get the proxy. It's pretty sick. I'm gonna link a tutorial by Majora, because Majora knows the spot a bit better. I'm actually looking at an image from his tutorial in order to do that proxy right there without me having actually learned it as well as some of the other runners have. But after all that Daxter movement and after the scooter proxy as well, I think there was one more thing I wanted to show off. Oh, right. Now I remember. Good that I took a moment there. There is one more bit of movement that's, I guess, technically not movement tech, but I'm gonna count it as movement tech. So, one thing that's the case in the teleporter menu storage categories, where you use the teleporter menu storage right here, where you go into the teleporter and then you press X and circle at the same time in order to get out of the teleporter while still maintaining the menu storage, is if you press X, you actually don't just interact like, for example, jumping, like I would want to do here. You also use up your teleporter menu like that, which is not what you want to do. You want to be able to jump even with teleporter menu storage. You want to maintain it, maintain the teleporter menu as you jump. So the way you do this is you actually remove your memory stick. So I have to do it by menuing here in the emulator menu. If you do it on PSP, you don't have to do any menuing at all. There's different ways to do this depending on whether PS Vita, PSP, emulator, doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm gonna remove the memory stick and I'm gonna exit out of this menu. Sometimes, depending on whether you had autosave on or off, I had it off, so this is why I have to do it multiple times. But normally if you have autosave on, then you can just do it right away. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press yes here, and I'm gonna exit out of this menu. I'm not gonna save. And that brings up this status of memory sticks changed. Autosaves now is disabled. This menu would normally pop up in the pause menu. I can show that later. But the end result of this situation here, where we have teleported menu storage, is that the game realizes we are in a menu. So it's like, okay, this memory stick has changed. The notification can pop up here, but we can move around in this menu because we have menu storage. So now we can move and jump even though we have menu storage, because the only way to get rid of this memory sticks changed notification is by pressing the circle button. And that means that we can jump as much as we want without ever actually menuing here in the teleporter menu, which is pretty sick. It allows us to still do our platforming while maintaining our teleporter menu storage, so we don't have to get rid of it, which saves a bit of time. But if I show off here the autosave disabled thing, while not having menu storage, what happens is instead this. So memory stick found, it already put me in the menu right here in my pause menu. I'm gonna do yes, I'm gonna back out of it just like last time. But as you can see, I can't move. I'm in a menu that doesn't allow me to move. So in order to move again, I need to exit out of this, and then I can do menuing and then get out to move again. Which is not how you want it to be. The reason why you would do the autosave disabled thing is because you're using menu storage, so that you can now jump around without messing up your menu storage. Yeah, that's all movement tech right there. I knew there was something else missing. I just had it. I was thinking about it earlier and then I forgot about it, but I remembered all of it now. So that was a lot of different things for you to practice, but put your effort into these different techniques and you can apply them throughout different categories, whether it's 90%, all missions, whatever category that you want to try out. And hopefully it works out well for you. Good luck on your runs.